Hey, welcome once again to the ethical hacking lecture series. In this lecture, we'll be mainly talking about the different types of ethical hacking, what are the steps that has been involved, and the footprinting of the ethical hacking. Coming to the types of ethical hacking, here you can see different types of ethical hacking. The first one is a system hacking, social engineering, web application hacking, wireless networks, and the web server hacking also. First of all, let me go with the system hacking. Here, the hacker gain access on the entire network and the computer, other systems what we are using. That is nothing but the system hacking. Once again repeating, here the hackers take control on the entire network and moreover the system resources. So ethical hacker takes the defensive measures not to have these type of things. So they will be using the different type of measures like password busting, packet sniffing, and more of the malicious software construction to tackle these particular threats. So this is about the system hacking. So what we'll be doing, we'll be keeping some sort of passwords for my system resources or also network resources. And next about the going with the social engineering. Here the attackers lure people to share sensitive information. Suppose, for example, I am a friend of you. What I'll be doing during the morning walk or also during some sort of chit chat, I'll be talking about what are your interests, how we are working, where you are working, what are the different type of applications on which we are working. And generally, these things we'll be discussing. Suppose I am a hacker. Generally, any person who is working in the corporate world, they will be having a clear instructions. Never ever discuss any sort of things, even with your close friends also, even with your family members also. In order to maintain the credibility of the data, in order to maintain the security of the data, or else a resource what I am using. Here, what the hackers will be doing is nothing but, if I had normal hacker, especially in the case of social engineering, I'm a hacker. If I have a sound knowledge on you, like example, your interests, your family information, on all these things, there is a chance for me to hack what may be the password. Let me go with a small example. Everyone will be using the Gmails or else a different type of IDs. What will be the password generally? It may be the my personal information like social ID numbers, date of births, initials, any sort of sibling names, or else any lover names or any sort of things. Once I have a sound knowledge on you, I can easily track what maybe the password is of. So this is the thing what the hackers are going to use, social engineering. So attackers lure people to share sensitive information. We will not be thinking, hey, Chalta, what is there if I share that particular information? But that may be very much important in some sort of cases. It is mainly caused when people know less about the threats or else trust hackers. So, ethical hackers build a strong prevention passwords to strengthen security policies to combat these particular issues. Nowadays, most of the applications, they are insisting to change the passwords regularly. And they will be insisting to have the passwords with the different type of things, like one capital letter, insisting some uses of some sort of special characters and some sort of numericals. Once we are having combination of all these particular things, automatically it will be taking large amount of time for the hacker to track what maybe the password is of. So whether we are sharing the information, it may be we may be thinking it may be less sensitive, but we should be very much cautious with the things, especially with the working environments. And next, coming to the web application hacking. It's a common method where the hackers are especially using different type of exploiting softwares over the HTTP. You may be familiar about this HTTP. That is nothing but the hypertext transfer protocol. That's why only people are nowadays using the HTTPS, secured hypertext transfer protocol. Whenever we want to open any particular website, like suppose for example www.google.com, it may be the user URL. That is nothing but the uniform resource locator. The ethical hacker fixed this by interfering with the URLs or by conspiring with the HTTP aspects. So we are keeping an extra one, HTTPS nowadays, to provide the much more security, not to have the hackers directly enter into my network via using any sort of websites and any sort of things. Coming to the wireless networks. Here, the hackers can easily extract the information from different type of wireless networks, like the radio waves during the transmission. So what I will be doing, the ethical hacker use different type of network sorting to identify the hackers to avoid these particular things, especially in the case of wireless networks. Let me go in detail about this particular hackers, how they are going to use in the case of wireless networks. Especially the wireless device, what we are using, not especially for the radio communication, for the regular users. Suppose, for example, if it is concerned to the military uses, so they will be regularly using certain frequency. If that particular frequency has been hacked by any hacker, they can identify, they can analyze what the total data transmission that has been happening via that particular frequency range line. So to avoid that particular things, okay, we are using different type of snorting techniques here. What the ethical hacker, what we are doing, especially in the case of wireless networks, especially for the military uses and all these things, to maintain the legitimacy of the data transmission, always we will not be using a single frequency. Okay, at periodical interval of time, we will be switching the frequency from one range to the other range. Even though hacker is identifying one particular frequency, okay, he cannot identify the next frequency sequence what we are going to use. At every interval of time, we are shifting from one frequency range line to the other frequency range line for the data transmission, so that we can provide the security for the data what I am going to transfer. So these things we will be mainly discussing in the case of wireless networks also. This is nothing but the frequency hopping spectrum. Once again repeating, frequency hopping spectrum. Here we are hopping from one frequency to the other frequency, so that the attacker or else a hacker directly cannot access the frequency range line what I am going to use. At a regular interval of time, periodical, I will be shuffling, or I will be jumping or hopping from one frequency to the other frequency. Suppose at the starting time period, I will be forwarding the required data transmission via the F1 frequency. In the next time period, I will be shifting to the hopping to the next frequency, next frequency. So once again, repeating the first one. So these particular frequency hopping also will not be following a sequential order. They will be randomly make the required hopping. What the hopping that has been used at the sender side will be used at the same at the receiver side. Then only you can have a proper information flow without any sort of loss of data. So these are the techniques what we are going to use avoiding the hackers. Next, coming to the web servers. Here the hacking involves exploiting or else vulnerabilities, especially in the web servers, and some sort of applications where we are going to work out to gain the unauthorized access, to steal the data, or else to avoid or else disrupt any sort of services. So these attackers are categorized into different type of things. They are using different type of common techniques. So to make the misconfiguration and more of the security flaws that has been available, via those things the hackers will be entering into my system or else a database and gaining the control. So our responsibility to avoid all these particular things as a ethical hacker. So we have to check about the system hacking. What are the different type of vulnerabilities? Okay, we'll be checking about the social engineering, how we are going to avoid the weak passwords by maintaining strong prevention password techniques. We have to check about the web application hacking. We have to check about the frequency hopping spectrum, where we are going to implement in the case of wireless networks, and more of the web servers also. So this is about the different types of ethical hacking. Next, coming to the phases. So here we will be having totally 5 different type of phases where the ethical hacking is going to implement. The first thing is nothing but the footprinting. That is nothing but the reconnaissance. Here in the first phase, so what we'll be doing is nothing but we'll be mainly gathering the total information about the system resource, about the network resource, everything is a preliminary phase. Okay, where we are using the white hackers. You may be familiar about these particular white hackers also. In the case of cybersecurity, we have already discussed about the white hackers, grey hat hackers, black hat hackers, different type of things. Let me go with a small introduction to the white hat hackers. So the white hat hackers are nothing but the ethical hackers who have the authorization to enter into my network. So they gather the as much of information as possible to implement the different type of security measures, especially on the target database or also target system. So these are categorized, or they are making the groups into three things. One is a network, gathering information about the network. Okay, their own port numbers, what are the different type of open ports that has been available. We'll be talking about the host information, what are the system resources, what is the password, okay, everything, and about the people and the user who is using on that particular system. When we are talking about the reconnaissance, that is nothing but the footprinting. Okay, we are having two different type of things. One is active footprinting and next one is passive footprinting. In the case of active footprinting, we will be mainly communicating with the target directly to get the required information. Let me go with a small example. What I will be doing here, suppose, let me go with the WhatsApp communication. So I'll be discussing, I'm a hacker, for example. Okay, somehow I got some sort of attention on you, and we are making some sort of chatting, saying that, yeah, hello, hey, this is some so and so. Okay, I'm a close friend of, I'm a cousin of your close friends. So in this particular manner, I will be starting my conversation. Okay, saying that I want a small information. First of all, I will be gaining the trust, and then I'll be implementing my own strategies. So directly I will be making the communication with the target. In the case of passive footprinting, suppose for example, in the case of Instagram or else LinkedIn or else any sort of things. So I'll be, as a follower, I will be following you, for example. Once I am following you, okay, I can get the basic information. Suppose for example, let me go with the Instagram only. Suppose I want to know about you. What I will be doing, I will be first of all following you, and after that I will be simply making the analysis. Okay, generally what type of videos we are posting. Okay, what type of things you are much more interested with? What is the text we are regularly posting? What are the different type of images you are posting? So on that thing, I can make the analysis. Suppose if you are regularly posting some sort of information about the sceneries, for example, you are posting some sort of image about the Taj Mahal or else any sort of Statue of Liberty and these things, I can make the analysis. Okay, you are much more interested with these sceneries and different type of things. Suppose if you are posting some sort of any sort of information against to the government, suppose for example. Okay, against to the government, against to the legal, against to the law enforcement authority, any sort of things. I can make some sort of analysis. Okay, this guy, something is fishy here. Okay, he is very much interested about these particular things. So I can make some sort of passive information can be gathered from this. Okay, here I am seeking or else getting the information about the target without gaining direct access. Okay, you may not be thinking I am making some sort of analysis on you, but as a hacker, what I'll be doing, I'll be simply analyzing how we are going to behave, what are the different type of posts that we are interested with, and moreover, to which particular persons you are much more interested with. Okay, who are the followers? From the followers, I can easily have the information. Suppose if you are following around 100 plus members, out of that particular 100 plus members, okay, most of the persons who are following are females, for example. I can make the analysis. Okay, so this particular person is very much interested with the opposite sex. Okay, so I can make some sort of analysis here. So the hackers exploit the social media and moreover the public websites. That is nothing but social media. That is nothing but the thing that has been explained right now, like the Facebook or else Instagram, any sort of thing. And the public websites what we are using, and also the public resources. So this is about the first phase. In this particular reconnaissance or else footprinting, I will be gathering the entire information about the targets to implement my own hacking. Next, coming to the scanning. Once the proper gathering has information has been happened, next I am going to implement from here. So the scanning process. There's a second step here. What I'll be doing here, I will be using the entire knowledge learned during the footprinting process. Okay, locating the target and checking the scope where we can have the loopholes. What I'll be doing, the hacker searches for the data about the user accounts or also credentials, IP addresses, and everything. Okay, what are the different type of systems what we are using? What are the different type of accounts what we are using? Okay, everything. So let me go in detail about the different type of scannings here. First of all, we'll be having the port scanning. So in this particular stage, what I'll be doing as a hacker, I'll be mainly targeting the open ports or also live systems in order to enter into your network. This is nothing but the port scanning. Next, vulnerability scanning. Here, I'll be using different type of weak points or also techniques to attempt to exploit those particular bugs into your system via multiple ways. Okay, I'll be using different type of network automated tools like Netscaper, also OpenVAS, Nmap, and different type of things. These particular tools we'll be discussing in the case of session hijacking and all those things in the fourth unit also. So what I'll be doing, I'll be simply scanning the vulnerabilities. What are the different type of weak points that has been available? Whether the password is of weak. Okay, directly I can check that particular password. I can enter into your network or else into your system database. Okay, and I will be simply invoking some sort of bugs. I have given one particular example regarding the ransomware attack also. What this particular employee has done, he has got some sort of mail. Okay, unknowingly, he got mail saying that, hey, hooray, you have won some sort of $1 million. Automatically, I will be simply clicking on that thing. Automatically, some sort of unwanted information has came into the system. So these are the different type of weak points and also loopholes that has been there. And finally, I'll be talking about the network scanning. This method mainly includes locating the organization firewall. You may be familiar about this particular firewalls. So in the computer networks, we'll be talking about the firewalls. Here in this particular firewalls, I will be using a special router called as a packet filtering router. So as the name implies, packet filtering router. So what the incoming packets, what the outgoing packets are coming into the network and going out of the network, everything will be scanned by using this particular packet filtering routers. That is nothing but the firewalls. So if any information is coming into the network from unknown port number, from unknown IP address, at unwanted interval of time, automatically I will be thinking, okay, this is not the information what I am expecting at this particular instant of time via this particular port, via some sort of mail ID. Automatically I will be simply triggering the required alert and I will be stopping that particular packet not to enter into my network so that he can provide the security for the data what I am maintaining. So this is about the organization firewall what I am going to use. So we are using different type of routers like packet filtering routers. Next to the scanning, what we are going to implement, we'll be talking about the gaining access. Here the hacker creates some sort of blueprint here. So from the information that has been gathered from the phase 1 and more of the phase 2. Okay, so he created a network map. Okay, and next he is going to implement his own strategies to attack my network. So it may be the phishing attack, it may be the brute force attack, it may be the snooping attack, it may be the man in the middle attack, DOS attack, session hijacking, buffer overflow attacks, different type of things. So dear friends, you may be familiar about these particular things, what we have discussed in the cybersecurity also. Let me give you some sort of introduction about these particular things. So in the case of brute force attack, it's a guessing attack. So previously also I said about I am a hacker, I want to target you. So if I know a basic information about you, or also some sort of sound knowledge about you, automatically I will be making some sort of guessing attacks. What may be the password you may be keeping of for your IDs, database, system, any sort of things. So this is about the guessing attack, brute force attack. Let me go with some sort of man-in-the-middle attack also. When I am transferring one system to the other system, from source to the destination, I will be using multiple routers to make the required data transmission. The intermediate terminals are also intermediate routers where we are working with. Okay, they can get the entire data what I'm going to transfer to the receiver. So the hacker who is working on the routers, okay, he will be grabbing the entire data and he will be making his own modification, and modified data will be transferred to the receiver. As a legitimate sender, what I will be thinking that the data has been properly transferred to the receiver. A receiver will also be thinking the data has came from the legitimate sender. But here the hacker in the middle has modified his own things and modified data has came to the receiver. So receiver also will be sending some sort of reply. That particular reply will be first of all read by the intermediate person, that is nothing but the man in the middle, okay, who is working on the intermediate terminals. He can make his own modification and modified data will be sending to the as a reply to the sender. So here source and moreover receiver will be thinking that I am communication in a trusted channel by using the trusted parties. But here the unauthorized person who has been working on the intermediate terminals make his own modification. Next, coming to the DOS attack. DOS stands for the denial of service. Let me go with a small example. Suppose, especially during the high peak situations in the networks, especially once results of the JN2 has been announced. So everyone will be working, everyone will be using that particular JN2 servers to access their own results, exam results. So every server will be having a threshold limit. They can service only 10,000 requests in a single instant of time. Beyond that particular 10,000 requests also, if multiple requests are coming into the network, which has been pumped by the hacker to make the server busy, automatically the server will be in a busy situation. It has already reached its own threshold, reaching to the 10,000. Beyond that, it can't provide the required services. So this is nothing but a DOS attack. The legitimate sender will be sending some sort of request, but at that particular instant of time, as already the server is in some busy situation, it cannot provide the required services. Next, coming to the session hijacking, buffer overflow attacks. These are different type of attacks that can be used by the hacker to gain the access of the entire system resources. Coming to the maintenance access and more of the clearing tracks. So in the case of maintaining access, the hacker gains the entire access and maintains the data. Not immediately. What he will be doing when the time triggers, he will make the exploitation. Okay, when he is interested, first of all, he will be gaining the entire access of the database. It will be entering into the network. He will not be making any sort of thing. When the time has been triggered, when he is much more interested at the peak hours, at any sort of situations, he will be exploiting the entire system resources, getting the entire control of the network. So the ethical hacker attempts to keep the entire access of the target until they have been completed the activities are intended to complete in that particular target. Next, coming to the clearing tracks. Once a hacker has obtained the entire access, they leave some sort of traces to prevent the detection. Okay, so what he'll be doing, he will be erasing the entire data, he will be erasing the log history, he will be erasing entire information about himself so that he may not be tracked. You can see here, they will be executing different type of applications by deleting the cache, by deleting the cookies, okay, entire information about the log files also, so that we cannot check when it has been happened, how it has been happened, by whom it has been happened. So you can see here, deleting or else corrupting the log files, changing the values of the logs and more of the registries, removing all the folders, and installing the required applications so that they will not be having any track about the hacker. These are the different type of cleaning techniques that will be implemented. Next, coming to the advantage. Why we are exactly using the ethical hacking techniques? What are the different type of advantages? So, as I said, ethical hacker will behave similar to that of the hacker, but with authorization. So, we have to study and how to check the behavior and different type of techniques that has been used, and his own mindset about the black hat hackers. Previously, I had said about the white hat hackers. That is nothing but the ethical hackers who have the authorization. But in the case of black hat hackers, they are the hackers who doesn't have the authorization to enter into the network or access the required resources. Okay, now, so we have to track about their own functionalities so that we can make the different type of remedial measures to avoid the hacking. Here you can see different type of advantage. First of all, it will be helping us the organization or else a company or any sort of corporate sector to provide the required security for the data that has been maintained by them. And the ethical hackers works on the network defending and more risk management also. They will be regularly scanning the total network ports. Is there any trapdoors? Is there any backdoors? It will be building the network to prevent any intervention from the hackers so that hacking will not be happened. It helps the cyber terrorism also. You can have a, let me go with a small example, Aadhaar database. UDI will be maintaining a huge amount of information about our own Aadhaars. The other information maintains the retinal information, thumb information, everything. If that particular information has been revealed to any terrorist group, you can understand the situation. You may be thinking that, sir, I'm a normal layman, even though my retinal information or else thumb information has been leaked out, it may not be affecting the system resources. But apart from our information, we'll be having maintaining the information about the different type of celebrities, different type of persons also. So we should be very much cautious. It will be helping us to track and moreover identify the black hat hackers to make the preventive measures. It also provides the required security, especially for the banking, financial, and more of the confidential data that has been maintained by the organization, especially in the case of government sectors. This is the different type of advantages. So to make the things to be implemented, here we are using different type of tools. So here you can see what are the different type of top 10 ethical hacking tools that has been introduced in the year 2025. But you can observe these particular tools will be go on updating, will be getting new different type of tools into the market every day. Here you can see one of the automated tool, that is a fully automated tool which is providing end-to-end web security for the scanning the entire platform, especially used in the case of Windows, Mac, and Red Hat, Linux systems, and everywhere. That is nothing but the Acunitex. But it's a paid one. Okay, we'll not be having any sort of free versions. And next we do have the intruders. Intruder is also one of the application or also tool which is used especially in the case of cloud environments to identify the vulnerabilities that has been there in the network. And next one is Nmap, which is mainly used in order to scan the total network, especially for the open ports, so that attacker will be coming into my network. It is mainly used by the ethical hackers in the Mac OS, Linux, Solaris, and different type of operating system. We do have the Metasploit. It is used to build the anti-forensics and moreover the evasion tools. These are used in most of the operating systems, what we are using regularly. And next comes to the Wireshark. Wireshark, which we are very much familiar. In most of our common networks, wireless networks, and these particular applications, we are using regularly the Wireshark also. Apart from that, we do in order to analyze the network behavior, we do have the NS2, NS3, network simulation 2, network simulation 3, different type of tools that has been available to analyze the behavior of the data flow, packet flow from source to the receiver. Okay, is a chance of having any sort of congestion. So everything can be identified by using this particular Wireshark. It also available. It also supports different type of operating system. And next comes to the last one is nothing but the Aircracker NG. It's a cross-platform tool. Okay, it will be mainly used in the case of wireless networks. Okay, it is mainly for the packet sniffing and more of the injectors. These are the different type of tools what we are going to use to identify, to handle the hackers. So in this lecture, we are mainly talking about the different types, phases, advantages, and what are the tools that has been used. Next to the ethical hacking tools, we'll be talking about the footprinting in the case of ethical hacking. Already in the previous slides, we have discussed about these footprinting, what are the active footprinting and what are the passive footprinting. Okay, we are gathering the entire information about the system resources, how we are going to seek the opportunities to penetrate into that particular network or also computer resources. It will be mainly helping the ethical hackers to identify, fight against the vulnerabilities. It will be mainly used to gather the entire information. Okay, it may be including the network map, or what are the different type of IP addresses, what are the different type of domain mail IDs that has been used, email addresses, different type of phone numbers, every information will be gathered. In the case of active footprinting, it will be mainly involves about the active search and more techniques regarding directly collecting the information, especially to a specific target. It takes a professional knowledge. What are the different type of methods, basic methods that has been used? Coming to the passive footprinting, it will be mainly collecting the information on a particular target without harming. Okay, here in the case of passive footprinting, we are not directly involved with the targets, but from different type of resources like social media, Google search engines, different type of things. From there, we will be targeting that particular system and we will be gathering the information. So this is about the footprinting in the case of ethical hacking. So dear friends, in this lecture, we have discussed about the types of the ethical hacking and what are the different type of phases that has been involved, how we are going to gather, next making the scanning process and everything. And next we have discussed about the advantages, why we are going with the ethical hacking, how we are going to help the required corporate company or any sort of sector to maintain the required data in a secured manner. We are discussed about the ethical hacking tools that has been used regularly, and next about the footprinting. Thank you for the reading.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.